Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and joining us early. You will see on the screen there that we are going to start at 9:30. All right, so if you want to get your wiggles out, get a bacon butty, whatever you've got in your classrooms at the moment, grab a drink, go to the loo, whatever it might be, please do that now. And we will start promptly-ish at 9:30. I'll see you soon. Good morning all, Rachel here. As you can see on the screen, we're going to start at 9:30. So thank you so much for starting to arrive so promptly and so on time. If you are watching the recording of this, please do feel free to fast forward. Probably around about 15 minutes in total to fast forward before you start. You'll see my face, which is always handy. It's a good prompt there. But yes, if you just join us now and you're just getting settled or having a bacon butty or some waffles, I've heard waffles are on order for today. Enjoy those. get your wiggles out, and we'll see you at past. Morning. I can see that more people are arriving, which is absolutely fantastic news. We're due to start in about 5 minutes. You can see that our fantastic HG ambassadors are starting to introduce themselves in the chat. Please do let us know if you're here. So nominate someone in your team. Maybe your teacher needs to do something. Your point of view, not mine. And introduce and let us know who's here so we can celebrate your achievements and understand who we're waiting for. As said, if you're watching the recording, you still have about 5 more minutes of fast forwarding to do, but hopefully you're all going to be joining us live. We'll see you at past. Oh, good morning, everybody at Monksy in high school. Well done for being the first school to put in the chat that you're here. It's wonderful to see you all, and I hope you're all sat there with a lovely drink and maybe a little bit of breakfast. Maybe, at least you sat in comfort. If you are just attending, we are going to start in about 2 minutes' time. Please let us know in the chat that you're here. It would be lovely for our staff to give you a high five, to welcome you and to reply, particularly if we've got any of our delivery team that are on this morning. We'd love to celebrate alongside you. So do let us know if you're here, and we will get started in approximately 2 minutes' time. Good morning, everybody. We're just about to start. I'm going to leave it a couple of minutes just to allow a few more people to get logged in. As I understand, there's a few Wi-Fi issues happening this morning. So I'm going to start in approximately 2 minutes' time. Let us know if you're here. Let us know in the chat. I can see Prudder here, Monk Seaton here. Oh, we've got Lawrence Jackson. Oh, we've got so many people that are saying hello, St. Aidan's. It's absolutely amazing to see you all joining us, and I hope you are very, very excited for this morning. So give us a few minutes. We'll just let a few more schools to join us, and I will see you very shortly. Morning. It's come, it's here. We've got the celebration event. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us at our FutureMe Enterprise Regional Awards and our online awards ceremony. I've just seen in the chat that Lawrence Jackson have had sausage buns and waffles. I am so jealous. I don't even have a cup of tea anymore. I've drank it all. I've been too excited. Thank you so much again for joining us. if you remember me from the welcomes, my name is Rachel. I've been very much in contact with all your teachers over the last few weeks. But again, thank you very much for being here this morning. I can see still there's so many schools that are joining us online, so please do continue to let us know that you're here and whether you're excited or a little bit nervous to join us this morning. I think our team are more excited than I've seen them ever. I can see like there's tension. Zara's trying to calm everyone down and remember everyone's achievements. So we are truly very excited for the winner. And as you know, I wasn't there last week, so even I'm excited to hear how you've done and what you've achieved, and also who the winner is, because it's still kind of news to me. I don't really know what's going on. I'm here like you to enjoy the ride. But I wanted to say a massive thank you, not just for obviously joining us this morning, but for taking part in the whole programme this year. There's been a lot of change, and I know for some of you this was maybe the first time that you've maybe been out of school or worked on a project like this, and particularly for your teachers, thank you so much for your patience as you helped us kind of navigate doing this again in person, and doing this with very different kind of staffing, different environment, different time frames. So we really do appreciate your patience, and I certainly do for your understanding over the last sort of few weeks and months as we've been delivering this challenge to you. So as I said, please do continue to let us know that you're here. I know that there's a few of you who are joining us virtually after the event, so welcome to you and thank you very much for catching up. I hope that you're still just as excited and you're still able to enjoy a little bit of a celebratory atmosphere despite it not being live this morning. So today, you'll be pleased to know is a chance for you to sit back and relax. Hopefully you can relax after all of your sausage buns, but there's no work for you to do today. This morning is an opportunity for us to reflect and take stock on everything that you've achieved over the last half term. Because if you think all the way back to March, where we were, how we were all feeling, how you were feeling when we announced what it is that you were going to be doing in that first half of the summer term, and where you feel that you are now, I am sure from what I've heard from last week, there's been a massive difference and there's been a huge shift change. And I want to take the opportunity to allow you to see that and see that in yourselves. I'm not going to go into too much detail now, and before we do, we always have a little bit of housekeeping. It wouldn't be me leading an event without that little bit of housekeeping. And my first disclaimer is I have been off poorly. Well, I've not been off poorly, but I've not been at events because I have been a little bit poorly. So if I do start to cough or I think I'm going to cough, I'll try and mute myself so I don't deafen you all, because it's not ideal. The staff here at Teesside have had to listen to it over the last couple of days, and it's not pleasant. But I'll try and keep that to a minimum. We do have, as you see in the chat, lots of staff on here, both from the foundations as well as from our FutureMe team, and they'll be driving excitement. So please keep your chat open and keep that conversation going throughout the whole of the morning. We also have Sasha, you'll know from last week, very acquainted with Sasha, who will be joining us at the end of this, well, the second half of this welcome. Not the welcome, the celebration this morning. And behind the scenes is our lovely Charlotte, who's going to be doing all the presentations and doing the PowerPoints as we get going. So she's going to be my absolute hostess with the mostess, which I'm so thankful for because it's very hard for me. Gav, Matt and Brogan are also with us this morning, and hopefully some of the teams from the foundation will be with us, and they'll be definitely in the chat, chatting with you and kind of making sure that you're all good and you're all excited as well. Now, as usual, we've got fire escapes. If there's a fire, if there's an evacuation procedure for any reason at all, if an alarm goes off, do not sit here and wait to hear the winner. I need to still know that you are safe and that you're not sat in a burning building because you're too excited and you want to know who's won. As always, please follow the safety and fire procedures from your school, follow a sensible adult, which you all are now, absolutely after this last kind of programme, in an orderly fashion to the nearest evacuation door and to the evacuation point. Don't sit here. We will send a recording out if it's really important, okay? So don't worry. Now, as you know, social media has been a huge part of the challenge. Throughout the whole of it, we harped on at the welcome for you to let us know what you were doing. I want the same today. I've missed out on so much of the joy of the last part of this challenge. I need to see and live vicariously through social media how you're all getting on. So please do, whether it's the school's social media platforms or maybe your own if you want to use your TikToks, Instagrams, whatever it might be, let us know how you're celebrating this morning and how you're feeling. It'd be brilliant to see you and see your kind of celebrations at your end. As always, the handle is at FutureMe_Northeast or NE for Northeast. Let us know how you're getting on. Now, if we can just click a few slides on, Charlotte, I'm going to send my presentation live, doing all the things over here. We should have probably, we should be at the FutureMe slide now, so just the title slide there. So as I said, we're going to take an opportunity to celebrate your achievements, not just for today, but for the whole of this part of this year. It's been a really kind of interesting year that we've had so far, and I think the time that this programme has been just after Easter, just before the summer, it has been a really interesting time for us all. And I want you to consider that as we go through the next few slides. So 5 weeks ago, 300 of you joined us at our welcome event in March at the universities. If we just click the slide, Charlotte, that would be marvellous. There we go, smashing. So you'll see these slides, you'll notice these slides because they were from the welcome. So in March, just before Easter, 300 of you joined us to hear about what it is that you're going to be doing over this summer term. And a lot of you, and I remember really vividly, each welcome event for very different reasons. Our one in Newcastle was really quiet, it was really subdued, but not because you didn't want to be there, but it was a really big event. For some of you, it was the first time that you'd been on visits ever since year 6, and you'd come through 2 years of your secondary school life without having a trip, and this was the first time that you were on a university campus or even getting a minibus from school to a different event, and it was quite overwhelming. And I remember kind of seeing a lot of the same haircuts. I must admit, guys, we need to get some differentiation there. I couldn't find any of yous that I needed to find, but also just this like, wow, like I'm part of something big. And it was a really quiet event. We were all sat there going like, wow, this is very different to normal. At Teesside down here, we had a lovely day. We had a smashing time. It was a very kind of exciting, event-filled kind of day, and the energy was totally there. But again, you could see this kind of like, oh my gosh, this is where I am. And it's amazing. And I can, from the stories that I've heard from last week, the difference and the development that you've all had and the maturity that you've all done in 5 weeks is absolutely massive. We then went on into your school group sessions with the foundations, and you've had 5 weeks of working with the foundations and with your teachers, which led you to last week's mastering of your creations and pitching to a panel of judges, people who some of you had never met before. And I can tell you for now that with the way you felt in the launch event, I bet you didn't think you'd be able to do that. And look at what you've achieved so far. I know for a fact that some of you didn't want to present in March. And then by the time it came to last week's events, and your other teammates or even other people from your school who were in a different team, if they were let down or they didn't have anyone who could present with them, you did it twice. So you did double the amount, and you put yourself out there, not just once, which is big enough, you did it twice. And that's a huge, huge step for you personally, professionally, and I hope you gain a lot of confidence from that, because it's an absolutely amazing how much you've achieved. Now, throughout all of that, that's just our bare bones of the programme. I know the likes of Paul and Hall, you've been going off and doing different tasks and delegating tasks to do outside of school. You've edited things, you've pulled together Spotify adverts. I understand that other schools have done their own independent research. You've surveyed your classmates and people within your year group. These are things that we suggested for you to do in the hope that you would do it, but it takes your own personal account and personal responsibility to actually action that and go on and do that. We have some people, and I've worked with people over the years that I could tell them to do something and they just don't do it. I've asked you and suggested to you to take that independent kind of working and work ethic, to be passionate about what you want to do and to just go for it. And probably for the first time in the 5 years that we've done that, you really have, and you can tell the difference in the style of the presentations that you've done, in what you've produced and the outcomes of everything that you've kind of created. It's phenomenal. So I really want you just to take a moment now to pat yourselves on the back, shake each other's hands and do a massive round of applause to yourselves and your teachers and the foundations for doing that. You've had 5 weeks, but you've probably put in about 10 weeks worth of work, if not more. So congratulations and thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. So if we just click on to the next slide now, please keep your cheers going and pop a message of thanks and things into the chat. Tell us how you've maybe gone above and beyond as well, because those are the ones that I just know about. I'm sure there are more stories out there that I didn't get to hear last week, but I'm really keen to know what it is that you've done. And this is obviously, these are the school group sessions that you've been taking part in. I know as well, Hetton School, that you've been doing your own sessions, and Miss Chalk has created or kind of set up additional sessions alongside these ones to help you independently. So again, in a busy year, when a lot of things have been happening and got GCSEs going on at the same time and possibly siblings and everything that's going on, you have taken that and you've been working towards this goal. So we just click the next slide, Charlotte. I don't know if there's a delay, but there we go. You are so familiar with this brief. So we asked you to design a marketing campaign to inform young men about how higher education can support their future career opportunities in the North East. And to do that, last week, you had to pitch and plan a social media content on a platform of your choice. I understand now that we have at least probably 15 social media accounts on Instagram, some of which have just as many followers as our current social media channels. So I mean, well done. Absolutely well done. I need to have a quick cough. I'm just going to mute the mic, so please just forgive me a second. At least I can mute myself. If I was in person, you'd just hear me cough. I understand that we also have a TikTok account, and the people who've created that have kindly provided us with your login details. So thank you for that. Thank you for starting us off. I mean, what added value that is. I can totally see that you've taken this colleague role really seriously, and you've helped us to no end. So thank you for kickstarting us and inspiring us to have our own TikTok. It's really good, guys. I'm really impressed. So we asked you to do that. If we just click to the next slide, this is essentially what we asked you to do. So we asked you to plan that social media content, and I've seen some of that and it looks phenomenal. Sasha's going to have a whale of a time the next year just repurposing this and obviously shouting you out and celebrating everything that you've produced for us. We also asked you to get your creative juices flowing and produce a accompanying marketing campaign. And in previous years, we've been really prescriptive of what that is, but this year we left it fully open to you. And my gosh, you did not disappoint. Honestly, I was worried. I was worried that we'd left it too open, that we'd been too vague, and we hadn't given you enough guidance and enough direction of what we wanted you to accomplish in these last 5 weeks. And I was hoping that wasn't going to be really demotivating. But to quote one of our staff members at FutureMe, what it seems is I haven't put you in a creative prison. I've let you go wild, and you've been unbelievable. I've seen posters, I've seen and heard actual adverts that you've animated yourself. Previously, we've just asked you to create a storyboard. I've received videos from the judges on the day to be like, you need to watch this. This is amazing. The talent that you guys have is phenomenal. I've said it before, but honestly, guys, really well done. And I don't know why I sound so surprised, because there's a reason why I ask you to do this, and there's a reason why I trust you to do this. And you've just shown it, and it's honestly better than anything that I could produce. And I dare say, and Sasha will probably back me up on this later, you know, better than some of the things that we have probably produced. So well done. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. And that pitch, we asked you all to bring all that together, bring your visuals, bring us your rationale behind why you've chosen to deliver this and to create this the way that you have, and pitch it in front of the judging panel. A judging panel which consisted of 2 coordinators from FutureMe who you'd never met before. Sasha is your head judge who wrote the brief, who's going to be using the content and responsible for, you know, putting this out there. And also a foundation manager, member of staff who, again, you've never met before. In front of your peers, in a year that this is possibly maybe your 2nd or 3rd ever visit outside of your school, and you're doing it in a professional setting, in hospitality areas of stadiums and within the Beacon of Light, with all the plush finery and tablecloth tables, all of the things that professionals have to do for a living. That's the kind of thing, if I speak at a conference, that's the kind of thing that I have to do, and speak in front of kind of cabaret tables with tablecloths and in front of panels of judges who are thinking about, oh, do we want to go for this? You've done my job. And from what I've heard last week, you've done it unbelievably. So thank you, particularly to those who have stepped up twice, for taking part in it and really going for it, because it's all come down to this. And it's come down to this moment where you're going to find out who's been successful. And I'll talk a little bit more at the end, but I don't want to drag this out too much, because, you know, the tension's just too much. And Sasha is ready and waiting. I'm going to hand you over to Sasha now, who's going to lead you through all of this, and share her experiences and thanks from last week and announce the winners. So we're going to do this in alphabetical order, I think by area, I think, Sasha, aren't we? So without further ado, I'll see you later. Good luck. I can't wait. Let us know your reactions in the chat, and I'll hand you over to Sasha now. As she says, hopefully, baby.
Thank you very much. Hello again, everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here in the chat, hearing about all the ways that you're celebrating in school, and it is a really, really well-deserved celebration. Because as Rachel said, the work that you have put in across this challenge and the things that you shared with us last week were fantastic, and it gave us a really, really nice week. As Rachel mentioned, I sat on all of the judging panels, so I had the privilege of seeing the presentations right across the week of celebrations from each of the areas. And I also sat on our independent panel to crown our overall regional winner. But I'll explain a little bit later on what that involved and how we went through that process. But I'd like to just start by reiterating some of the comments that I gave at the events last week. The judges across the week of events were really, really impressed at the standard of pitches that we saw this year. The standard was so high across the board. You've kind of fully understood the brief. We asked you for your ideas and you weren't shy in telling us what you want to see, what works for you and your peers, which is exactly what we wanted. And we had some really unique and creative ideas for media campaigns that came out of that. So it was lovely to be a part of. That being said, it made our job very interesting to hear all of your ideas, but it also made our job as judges really quite difficult. So we had lots of conversations, we looked at all of the entries and had to kind of come to those difficult decisions of crowning a winner because you were all just so good. So thank you again from me, and thank you to the staff in your schools that have been supporting you, who brought you along to the events and kind of helped along with our HE ambassadors to calm your nerves and get you ready to make those presentations, because it really did pay off. So we'll start with the Foundation of Light area now. So this was the event that took place last Friday. The judges across the day really enjoyed the creativity that was shown through these presentations, and also the way that kind of many teams on the day not only thought about why young men might not be considering higher education, but also why specifically in the northeast. So you were able to link it back to sort of key employment areas in the northeast and big sectors and sort of where certain jobs are more prominent in our region. And that's really quite a mature concept and quite a complex concept to get your head around. Rachel and I, although Rachel's much better at it than I am, have been trying to understand that for years and kind of looking at our region. So the fact that you were able to include that in your pitches was really, really impressive, and the judges loved hearing your kind of how you'd picked that out and why you thought that that was important to share with young men in our region. Before I move on to talk about the winner and announce the winner, we would just like to start with some special recognition. So students or teams in each area that really stood out to us on the day for certain things. So we'd like to give a very special commendation to Ben from Hetton School in this area, who stood up and delivered a really, really confident, polished and well-rehearsed pitch, and was able to answer some really difficult questions from our judging panel. I say judging panel, I know that the difficult questions came from me, but you answered them with such kind of understanding of what we'd asked you to do, and you told us, you told me exactly what I'd asked, you told me what I wanted to hear. So well done. It was lovely to see that, and how you kind of brought the rest of your team in, you know, and let them answer as well. You were a very natural leader and a fantastic presenter. So well done to you. Another kind of special commendation from this area goes to Elliot from St Aidan's, again for such a fantastic presentation and delivering it in such a calm and collected manner. I know that I kind of had a chat with you over lunch where you were still practicing and still preparing, and that really did pay off, because when you stood up in that room, you again kind of led your team and delivered that pitch in such a professional manner. I certainly didn't start presenting in such a manner, so I'd love to see where you go from here if you keep practicing and keep delivering presentations. So that was great to see. And just an acknowledgement of the effort that went into Hetton's presentations and your creative ideas. You were one of the teams that picked out sort of northeast specifics and what was specific to your local area and the jobs that were available and how higher education might help you kind of achieve getting into those sorts of roles. So that was really lovely to see. And it's always nice when we see really unique ideas and creativity and things that make us laugh. We love being made to laugh, and you did that really well. So thank you. I hope you're kind of giving each other a round of applause and a little pat on the back in your classrooms currently. If you are sat with one of those people that have been given a special recognition, congratulate them, say well done, and, you know, and celebrate your efforts as a collective, because it was noticed by the judges, and we were really pleased and privileged to have been able to see those presentations on the day. But now it comes for the time for me to announce the winner for the Foundation of Light area and for all the schools that took part in that celebration. So this year's winner not only understood the brief, told us what kind of social media content and what accompanying media they'd like to include. They provided examples and they'd kind of worked them up and they were of a fantastic standard. They also went above and beyond and created an Instagram account that rivals the FutureMe's Instagram account in number of followers. So we were presented with that on the day. I was gobsmacked at the number of followers, so well done for kind of building that up, and hopefully the messages that you had put out on that Instagram account have been useful to those that are following and have started to get them to think about their journey and what their future might look like. As I've said, the posts that were included and the way that they were added to a story and to the grid posts were of a really high standard and really, really creative and able to get those key messages across. And it was really inspiring and informative, the kind of content that was put on there. So that was lovely to see. So you might have guessed who it is if you were in that pitch with them. But the winners for this area are Elliot, Jack, TJ, Charlie, Connor, Liam and Ryan from St Aidan's Catholic Academy. So well done, lads. I hope you're celebrating. You should be really proud of the efforts you put in. The judges, like I say, were really, really impressed with the standard. And we've got a bit of competition with our FutureMe Instagram account. So that was great to see. We asked you kind of to do mine and Rachel's jobs for a couple of weeks, and you have not disappointed. You've absolutely done that. And it was great to see that. So well done, and have a little celebration in school. Now then, so that was the Foundation of Light area. We'll move on to the Teesside area schools now, so Middlesbrough Foundation, which was our first celebration of the week. Now, coming into these celebration events, we never really know what to expect. You guys surprise us every year with what you stand up and deliver, and this year was no different. We were wondering what we'd be presented with, the kind of ideas you'd have, how nervous you'd be. But what was lovely about all of the schools at this event was that you stood up and delivered such confident and well-rehearsed presentations. It was as if you'd been doing this sort of thing for quite a while, which I know for a lot of you isn't the case. You might not have had that chance to stand up and deliver a professional pitch before. And what I will say is it's difficult to stand up in front of an audience and speak at the best of times, but to stand up in front of your peers and the people that you spend every day with in lessons and after school activities can be more difficult sometimes because those people are so familiar. So well done, because you know, across the board here, you stood up, you delivered fantastic presentations, and they were so well thought out and clear, and the judges understood exactly what you wanted us to take from those presentations. We knew what your key messages were, we knew what you wanted to create at the end of it, and you were able to answer our questions really well. Also, so just to give some more special commendations and special recognitions, we'd like to acknowledge our first speaker of the day. So it's Alex from St Hills. Well done you, because you stood up with your team. You were the first group of the day. You'd had nothing to kind of watch beforehand. You'd had a little welcome from us, but got straight into it with no examples really. And you stood up with such confidence and poise and professionalism as a young man and delivered a fantastic presentation. You also answered our questions really well. And like I say, I know that we're not always kind with our questions. We try to be, but sometimes we like to challenge you a little bit, but you answered them absolutely no problem. We'd also like to give a special commendation to Finn, Luke, Samuel and Charlie from Lawrence Jackson, who delivered a really comprehensive presentation. You had clearly understood the brief and you walked us through each element of it so clearly and with a real understanding of what you've been asked to do. So not only did you kind of show us the creative side of things, but the information underpinning that, you were able to explain it in quite a lot of detail, and you didn't really look at your slides, which is something again that takes some practice and takes a lot of time to be able to do that. So it was lovely to see you'd obviously put the work in and been able to stand up and deliver that to the judges. So a huge well done. Again, if you were sat with your friends and they've got a commendation, do congratulate them because their efforts have been recognised by the judges. But it's now time for me to announce the Middlesbrough Foundation Challenge winner. So the winning team in this area delivered such a fantastic presentation because they were able to really justify why they had chosen their approach. So they told us what they wanted to do, but then they told us exactly why they believe that that's the right reason for reaching their target audience and why it would work for young men. Which is really important to be able to do. It's something that Rachel and I have to do. If we go to colleagues with an idea, we have to say why it might be the right idea and why we think it'll work. And you guys did that fantastically. And as judges, we understood it and we believed you. You'd also gone above and beyond. So not only did you present us with an idea, you'd gone off and recorded a whole Spotify advert for us. It had been well researched, it was clear, it had a great backing track behind it, and it was really professionally produced. It's difficult working with kind of audio and video. I really struggle with it still. So the fact that you'd been able to put that together and present it to us was just fantastic to see. So the winners this year for the Middlesbrough area are Ethan, Freddie, Blake and Florin from Paulham Hall. So well done, lads. I hope you're celebrating in school and congratulating each other, because it was a really, really brilliant advert. We loved listening to it and such a creative way of kind of presenting that information. So well done. But moving on to the Newcastle and Northumbria area schools now. So Newcastle United Foundation, where we were last Thursday. Again, we had some fantastic pictures across the day. You kind of answered our questions well, you stood up and you were presenting in front of some quite big groups. So you had yourselves and your school, but sometimes kind of one or two other schools in there as well. So you were presenting to those people that you'd not met before, you were sharing your ideas with them. And you did that so maturely. You were all really supportive of each other. You listened to everyone else's presentations, you supported each other in that room to get up and deliver those pictures, which was lovely to see, and I think what we all needed. We had a lovely atmosphere. We also had a really impressive selection of creative ideas, and what stood out to the judges in this area was how many of you had gone to the trouble of bringing those ideas to life. So not just bringing us your ideas, but actually bringing us an example of how that could look in practice. And that was really exciting for us as a judging panel. You gave us lots of things to watch, read and listen to throughout the day, and it made our judging job very difficult because we had a lot to discuss at the end of that day. Before we move on to the winner, again, just some special recognition for teams in this area. So we'd like to say a huge well done and thank you to all students from Prudder Community High School who came with a range of different media forms. We had videos, TikToks, Instagram posts that were just a joy to watch, and you could really explain why you'd done that, why you'd chosen those outputs and what it was about it that you thought would resonate with young men and with your audience. So they were fantastic and they were so creative. We'd also like to acknowledge, as a panel of judges, Ellis, Ben, Carter and Kyle from George Stevenson, who delivered a presentation that was focused on student finance and how that might influence someone's decision to consider higher education. And it was delivered with such maturity and so many complex themes that we were really impressed and really wanted to acknowledge it, because you not only considered why you want to hear about student finance, but also how you might start having conversations with parents, family members, family friends about the subject, and you were able to answer some questions on how you might want to do that and how we should encourage parents to kind of access this information as well, which again is another thing that our team have to do quite often. We have to think about how we can share all of this with your parents as well. So you've given us some fantastic ideas, and you delivered some really complex information in a way that was clear and easy to understand. So you've certainly given us some ideas, which is fantastic. But on to this year's winner. So this year's winner for the Newcastle United Foundation presented a really original and unique idea that utilised the FutureMe brand throughout. You'd considered sort of how we could tie in things that we might already have and sort of the FutureMe brand that you see so outwardly. But what the judges really liked about this idea was that it came with a little bit of interactivity, and it encouraged people to get involved and really sort of engage with the content and use it in a way that would suit them. We also had an accompanying sort of media campaign and ideas for videos and things. But you'd also gone away and conducted a little bit of market research. So you told us that you'd surveyed your peers and people in school and asked them what you would like to see, and you had responded to that by creating this media campaign, which was fantastic. We know then that it is what people would like to use. So the winner for this area are Taylor, Harvey and Luke from John Spence, and that was for your Snapchat filter and lovely video that would accompany it. We really like the idea of being able to have a play with kind of visualizing your future using a Snapchat filter. We thought that was really unique and creative, so well done. So I hope you're all celebrating in your classrooms currently, and congratulating those that have won for their efforts. What I will say is give everyone, give yourselves a pat on the back. You did really well. Obviously those 3 winners, we will produce your content and you will see it on our social media channels, and you will see it as a kind of a marketing output very soon. But keep an eye out for all of you for some of your ideas perhaps making their way onto our social media. We will credit you. I'm not saying I'm going to go away and steal anything, but you gave us such brilliant ideas and really creative content and a way of reaching our audience that we perhaps hadn't considered before. So that was lovely. I asked you to do my job. You've absolutely done it. In some cases, I think you've probably done it better than I'm doing it. So I'm a little bit nervous for when you guys start entering the workforce, because I think I'll have some competition. But again, just a huge well done. You should be really, really proud of everything that you've managed to create and how you managed to explain that to us as judges. But now on to the overall regional winner. So I also had the pleasure of sitting on the independent panel who was responsible for deciding on the overall winner. So we took the 3 entries that I've just said have won from each area to this panel that was made up of myself, one of the managers in the FutureMe team who works on our evaluation, and also some colleagues from one of the colleges in the region. So they haven't seen you guys at the welcomes, they haven't seen you guys at the celebrations. They saw your content and the kind of winning ideas from each area, and that was presented to them. We had a discussion, chose a winner based on the content. And that winner will receive a VIP media experience at Spark FM in the coming weeks. So you'll really get to see how professionals sort of work on a daily basis, how radio's created, and you'll get to have a fantastic experience. Now, what I would like to pass on from the independent panel was how impressed they were at the standard of entries. Again, you gave us a really, really difficult decision. We talked about each entry in a lot of detail, but other members of the panel were shocked at the quality and the standard of what you've managed to produce. One member of the panel actually just said at one point, they said, "Oh, can I just check that these are actually in year 9 and this is what they've created?" And I was very pleased to say, yes, you're absolutely right. They are in year 9 and look at what they've done. They were blown away by what you'd managed to produce. Another member of the panel said, "Oh, you see less creative marketing all around us on a daily basis by some of the big companies. So you've really, really understood what we were asking you to do and put so much effort into it." So that was noticed by the independent panel. And so a big well done again. So as I say, we looked at each of the 3 winning entries from the areas. We discussed them in a little bit more detail. We deliberated for ages as we tried to make this decision. But it's time to announce the regional winner of the 2022 FutureMe Enterprise Challenge. So if in your classrooms you can start a little drum roll, please, a sensible one, mind. The winners this year of the 2022 FutureMe Enterprise Challenge are Ethan, Freddie, Blake and Florin from Polham Hall for their Spotify advert. So we know Polham are here, so if you'd like to put a little message in the chat, talk about how you're feeling, but a huge congratulations to you guys. As I say, we were really impressed that you managed to go away and create a Spotify advert that you could play for us. Kind of above and beyond just giving us a script and telling us that's what you wanted to do. You've gone away and done the whole thing for us, which was fantastic and very impressive. So a massive well done to all of you again. Congratulations to our winners. I hope you all kind of recognise your achievements and the work that you've put in, because as I say, it didn't go unnoticed. We could see how much effort you'd put in, and on behalf of the judges, thank you for giving us such a lovely week of listening to your ideas and your content. But I'll hand you back to Rachel now. You've had enough of me over the last week or so, so I'll hand you back over to Rachel.
Thanks, Sasha. I'm besides myself. I've been sat here far too excited, having to down water because it's just too much. What an amazing achievement. And I mean, Sasha's articulated that so well. Of how much you've achieved, and I think I've put it in the chat, but what the independent panel have said, I mean, the panel members were from the Northern School of Art, which is specialist FE and HE Arts College, and they were the ones who have said, "Are you sure that these are year 9, 13, 14-year-old young men? This is something that is better than we see from companies, from industry, from our students. And you're the ones who create that." And I know, because I've seen other entries, little bits and bobs, as well as obviously the winners. I've seen them. So I did tell a little while before, but I've seen them, and you all should share that sentiment. I'm not just telling you what you need and want to hear. It has been absolutely phenomenal, the standard of entries this year, not just from the winners, not just from the regional winners, but from everybody. So a massive congratulations to you all. And also the camaraderie and teamwork and sportsmanship and professionalism that I've seen on this chat of congratulating individual special recognition awards, congratulating other competitors and other teams, as well as other teams and other schools from across the region, is just so heartwarming to see. And I really hope that it's not just your teachers that are doing it on your behalf, but that you do truly share that sentiment as well, because it's been nothing short of amazing. And what a year to come back on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, I just have a few thank yous. I must admit I felt a bit of a fraud coming on this morning and congratulating you all and sharing on all of your success, because it's certainly not been me who's done this. It's been you. It's been your teachers who have, despite it being one of the busiest half terms in the year, in a very complex return back to full school life. This year has been immensely difficult, and please, and I know you are, and please pop it in the chat, a massive thank you to everybody who supported you within the school, from the foundations as well. So our foundations teams this year have been completely different. They're really new. Even Brogan was kind of brought into this a bit later than what we would anticipate, from a change of role, and had never seen this before either. So everybody, from your teachers to the foundations to those that have supported you within school, can we all say a massive well done, a huge thank you, and to the catering staff who are bringing these sausage buns and waffles. There's so many sausage buns and waffle chat in the chat, mainly from me, to be fair, because I'm massively jealous. But this programme doesn't work without you. I can hand on heart say that, and there's been a lot of teachers that have been really instrumental in how we've delivered the programme this year, and we've made a lot of fundamental changes, and it's down to you, and I think it's been for the better, absolutely. So thank you so much from me. And you've obviously seen it this morning, but I need to say a personal thank you to Sasha. Sasha works with me very closely on creating the challenge, doing the marketing challenge, and drawing everything up that we need to share with you and share with your teachers and the foundations to be able to make you enable you to do this challenge and to support you. But as you saw last week, Sasha had to step up massively and not just be head judge and make sure everything else was going okay, but also do my job whilst I was unwell. So whilst she's on the call and whilst you're all here, I want to say a massive thank you to Sasha, because she's kept this going, and it would have been really easy, disheartening, but really easy to cancel last week, and that's not something that we would ever want to do. Chris Cook, who you've all met, said that she was magic, and she certainly is. So thank you so much to Sasha for making all of this happen and keeping the show on the road. I do really appreciate it. Now, just before we leave, it's a World Cup year, and I know we've not done necessarily as well in the Nations League as what we'd like, but I want to just read a quote from you, from Pippa Grange, who works closely with the England football team. And I understand this is not necessarily a football related challenge, but I think it really stands testament, particularly for those who maybe are sat there who haven't received a special recognition or haven't received the plaudit of being your area or regional champion. And I want you to sit on this, and I want you to think about this, and I want you to take this forward, not just in the short term, but going forward in life, because I think she really articulates this well. And she says that I'd like to turn this unhealthy preoccupation with success on its head and put it on record that I think failure is really useful. For without failure, we cannot progress longer, higher, or faster. It's a funny paradox. Our successes are achieved through trying, and trying most often ends in failure. Every day in our general lives and our sporting lives, we will win and we will lose. It's just part of the way of life and that it should be. It could be missing out on a promotion. It could be pipped at the line of a running race, or even bombing out in an exam. It doesn't matter. The important lesson to learn is that from our failures is to reassess, to rethink, to move forward, sometimes in a different direction, and to keep those dreams and goals alive. So whether you've been successful today or not, in terms of holding that trophy aloft and cheering, so everybody in the school is like, what on earth is going on in that classroom? You have all been hugely successful. None of you have failed. I know this talks about failure, but none of you have failed. You've learned something, and you've learned something really tangible and I hope really life affirming, that you now believe in yourself. We know that you all have expectations and personal expectations of where you want to go in the future. I hope now that you're one step closer to realising that that expectation can actually be a reality. I know you have high aspirations. I have high aspirations for you, but I know that you can achieve them. And I hope that everybody in this webinar watching this video understands that you've proven that this week and these last few months. You've done it. So I want you to take this experience for a massive positive. We've had young people, I've heard very recently of young men who've been applying to do Duke of Edinburgh Awards, who've been applying for jobs, who've used FutureMe Enterprise. So previous attendees and participants have used FutureMe Enterprise as part of their application. I know this, I've seen it, it's amazing, and you can totally do that. So please do use this, because you've worked to a brief, you've been so creative, you've worked as part of a team. Some of you have shown some outstanding leadership and ability to cope with really diverse and challenging situations. And some of you have been successful and are going to take that professional experience on going forward. Be massively proud of yourselves. I am so proud of you. And with 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes early, so you can celebrate yourselves, I am going to say a final farewell and a final thank you to you all. Good luck. I hope to see you next year in some guys. We'll leave the chat on, we'll leave this kind of going on for the next sort of 5 minutes or so, as I know there's a little bit of a delay, but well done. Have a lovely summer, and I hope to see you soon. right, guys, we're going to end the session there. Thank you so much once again. Huge congratulations to our winners and to everybody who's taken part this year. We'll hope to see you soon. Bye.